Dripping in finesse with my baby. Oh, finesse. You know, girl, you know we got it going on.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time here in SVG, it is 8:12, and we are back with you for another segment of our Activated Mornings program here on WEFM. In studio, you have Dianna Cain and myself, Roleza Samuel. And all right, so we are looking to head into another topic, but I know that there was somebody who was trying to get in just before we came out of the last segment. So to that person, you can try calling now before we change the topic. All right.
So while we wait on the person, now Dr. Friday said something. He said begging and borrowing, this might be the person.
Right. All right. Good morning, Lavon.
How are you?
We're fine, and you?
I'm great. I've called to build upon the good news of our 90-day plan. I think that one of the things that we must be able to admit is that these are very simple and practical plans that the NDP has put forward. Let's look at them in its simplest of forms, right? We go to example for pledge number 4, which speaks directly to the workers who were dismissed. Reinstating workers who, by the way, went to court and the judge agreed with them in the first instance that they should get their job back with their full benefits, and the government fought workers on this. I can't imagine people who spend 15 years, say you spend 15 years as a teacher, and the government has offered to them that they should go back to work, but they should start at day one. What happened to that 15 years that they've already put into the system and into the public sector?
Okay, so
the NDP fundamentally believes that you should get your job back, and you should get it back with your benefits, because it goes directly to your retirement plan and your pension. The thing about it is this: we see up to sometime this week, there's an article on St. Vincent Times that's saying GHS 4 weeks into the school term and no chemistry, no biology teacher, I think. The reality is that there was a deficit that was created in some of these sectors for professionals. And we need to look at ways in which we have the numbers in terms of the number of persons who were let go. And it is very easy to get them back into the classroom, get them back into the places where there was service. That doesn't take a year to do. All it needs is planning. It takes the information that we already have. You take also a bonus payment for public servants. This is something that doesn't take any government rocket science to do, and the doubling of poor relief. The reality is this: we are facing a cost of living crisis. We are. And this current government wastes a lot of funds by going over budget with a lot of projects. They're poor project managers. And if you realize, if we were supposed to ensure that projects that are budgeted at, say, $100, if we finish them at $120, which goes into contingency, that's fine. But when you budget a large project at $100 and then you end up spending $500, that's what you call waste. And I fundamentally believe that the people of this country have been suffering for too long. We have people in the public sector who are receiving full salaries from government. What happened to the most vulnerable people amongst us? $250. How far is that going? And without doubt, I hear people saying that there are people on it who shouldn't be on it and so forth. The reality is that public assistance is made for those who are vulnerable, the indigent, and those who need it the most. And we can all agree if you go to the supermarket, you do your own shopping. You and I both know that $250 don't make the cut. And when we look at slashing prices on VAT, it doesn't take rocket science to cut VAT from 16% down to 13% because the framework is already in place for the collection of 16%. The thing is just instead of collecting 16, you now collect 13. That doesn't take 2 years or 3 years to get done. I believe that a lot of the things that is happening now in the public sector, all it requires is somebody who cares enough to sit. Because you look, a lot of the things that we face has to do with bureaucratic red tape and people not taking the time in the public sector, those who are at the head, to really sit down and sort it out and clear it out so that the public sector could be more efficient and so that it could serve us better. How many times have you gone into a public sector place and you're saying, but this document shouldn't take me this number of days to get it? There is a very practical solution that goes to the heart of the the cost of living crisis that we're facing. And I will say this, the Unity Labour Party has had 25 years to do practical things. And what have they done to tackle the cost of living crisis? Point me. And even so that you want to criticize this. What are you proposing then? If not this? All you're doing is criticizing this. What is your alternative? You haven't done it in 25 years.
All right. So let me just address with you as you're here a couple of things, right? The talk of the CBI came back up again. Is it that monies from the CBI program are going to be used to help to fund the pledges made in the first 60 days?
Money from the CBI is not needed to reinstate people to their jobs. Let's be clear on that. These are people who are already in the system, who the system should have already budgeted for. The situation with persons going back to work, as far as I see it, this is just the ego of the Prime Minister wanting to hold on to his draconian vaccine mandate. There is no justifiable reason for why these people should not go back into the system. Slashing the prices on VAT. This is not something that needs CBI in order for it to be done. These are just practical, direct things that requires us looking and saying, listen, people need to go back to their work to ensure that they're able to take care of their families. You don't need CBI for that. And I'll tell you this, the NDP has always said about CBI, that CBI is but one tool that will help us to generate revenue. We have always said that we need to ensure that our productive sectors are working for us. But we also fundamentally believe that there are too much wastage in a lot of projects that are ongoing. You'll be amazed to know how much monies that the government can save by actually being more productive and doing their jobs. You take, for example, there are large associations that should be paying their taxes that don't necessarily pay it. But you find that those everyday people, we have to pay as we go. And we have a problem with collection. We have so many different departments to make more efficient that would help us to get monies into the coffers of the government.
Okay, so with regards to that question, so you're saying no, it's not necessarily for this purpose, right? Now, the other question, well, I believe that you are following the conversation because we've heard repeatedly that the Public Accounts Committee has not been held.
That's not true. There's a meeting that was held.
So there was a meeting, but it wasn't
2 months or so.
right. But it wasn't held with any sort of frequency. So, what position is the NDP in to actually know what the true finances of the country are in order for you to make these pledges ahead of time?
Well, I think that what the ULP should tell us is if the coffers are empty.
No, but then the NDP is going.
Empty or not?
But then the NDP is going on the assumption that the coffers aren't empty, which is why these pledges are being made.
Do we all agree that we have a terrible economy? Yes or no? Are they fighting back? Because we said, listen, we've done the studies. The economy is in a state. The NDP has said that, yes, right? They're coming and they're saying, oh, we have the fastest growing economy, right? And then now they're saying, how could you say that an economy? So which one is bad?
But then, Lavon, but
And I'll
then,
tell you this: none of the proposals that I have made has hinged. That is in the 60-day plan has hinged on what is currently in the coffers. Because you heard me saying that reinstating of jobs is something that the system would have already had in place for the workers. These are not new people out of thin air. These are people who would have already had a job. In addition to that, the cutting of VAT is not going to finding money in the coffers. This is ensuring that we put some money back into the pockets of the people so that they could increase their spending power. And when the economy is stimulated, you find that you have more economic activity going on.
so then,
All these
so,
things,
but
some of these things need what some of these things need is just someone to actually sit and make practical and rational decisions about taking some money from here and putting it here so that the people could breathe a little bit more.
So then, Lavon, then you would be in agreement that more than likely the coffers are within good standing, which means that the economy is
I
probably
did
good.
not say that.
No,
I did not say that.
right, but then that is
I
the thing.
said because I said
How? Okay, give me a
I
second,
said
Lavon.
that
Give
there's
me
a
one
lot of
second.
wastage.
Give me
I
what?
said there's a lot of wastage.
Mm-hmm.
I also said that it requires looking at if, for example, this government has a tendency of not putting the money where the pain is. We look and we see a lot of things. For example, the prime minister in the last budget would have increased his allocation for his portfolio from the prime minister's office for spending by a couple 100,000. Well, when you look at the number of persons who are on poor relief, that money could more than triple the payout. Because I would have to call you back on Monday with the number of people who is on poor relief. But the money that has been increased to his office, right?
Okay, so
Could
it's
more
so
than pay off.
okay.
So
What you're saying is going to be a more likely case of redirection of funds and not necessarily knowing the financial standing of the country.
what I'm saying is that this government currently does not put the money where the pain is.
Okay.
And we in the New Democratic Party will redistribute resources to where it needs to go within the first 60 days.
Okay.
And might I add that when you look at this, Roleza, if the government needs to make some sort of intervention to give people some sort of relief, because people need relief and they need it now.
All right. So with regards to that needing of relief, right? So cutting VAT from 16 to 13%. What do you say to the discussion or the point that has been put forward that even if VAT is cut, generally store owners, persons with services, they don't drop their prices, right? So yes, it is. You might be cutting VAT, or NDP might be cutting VAT, which is supposed to be the benefit of the citizens. But if prices within the supermarkets, etc., those prices aren't dropped, then how is it going to be of benefit to us if these persons don't drop their prices? Like, is there going to be a general discussion amongst those within the business community that they're supposed to work hand in hand? And I don't know, maybe that dropping the prices might mean that there might be more purchasing of items, etc. How is that going to be addressed?
Well, remember in a release that the cost of an item, let's say for example, a banana is for $1. That is the cost from the supermarket. But then there's a 16% on top of that that becomes the cost that the government is collecting. So if your cost is $1, your cost is $1. You continue to get your dollar.
But we know that
instead of the government collecting that 16 cents, the government now collects 12 cents or 11 cents. And this is just me using rough numbers.
Right. But the thing of it is that our prices are VAT inclusive. So if we're already seeing something at the $3,
right, but remember that you have to submit all of these things. So, for example, every single thing that comes into the system through the customs and everything, you have a registration of it for the cost, and you build on the VAT on top of it. So it's not difficult for you to know. All right, this mock-up based on what we have imported. This tin of beef cost X. X and we put on the 16% on top of it. So that part of it is not something that is hard to work through, right? What you now do, and because the government knows how much that they're collecting at the end of the day, this has to do with tax administration and collection, and then tax administration has to work alongside with compliance and consumer affairs. So as I said, this just requires dedicated attention to sort through. This is not something that is difficult to get done. You take, for example, St. Lucia. Alan Chastney did this in his tenure. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines will not be doing something that is novel or something that is new or something that is beyond any civil servant to work out. It's not like we're going to try and figure out a way to
could fixing this could fixing or changing this be done within the 60 days to the benefit of the consumers?
It absolutely can, because that is why we put it forward. People can be assured that the New Democratic Party has a team of, you take, for example, Shaka Cupid, who has experience working as a top controller in income tax. He understands the nuances of collections and what it takes to goes into VAT. We have Kishore Shallow, Dr. Friday, and Fitz and Major Leaker, who all studied economics. And we also will be relying on other persons who are experts in economics and tax collection in this country. The reality is that the New Democratic Party has within our team persons who are competent and persons who have been studying this, because we put forward the solution since 2020. So you would imagine that we have done a level of study into it, and we have added people to the team who know about tax collection, who understand, who has worked at the top level in our tax collection offices. I mean, Shaka is one of the controllers of the tax office, so you would think that he understands it in and out and has a specific and key role to play in this adjustment that we'll be making. I want to let you know, just before I head into my meeting, that at the end of the day, we have different nuances, and people may have different ways in which they're looking at it. But the fundamental point is this: the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are crying out for help. The reality is that the Unity Labour Party has not responded in any way at all about how they're going to offer something, whether it's 60 days or 100 days, and in fact have not done it in the 25 years that they're there. The New Democratic Party is proposing realistic and practical things that would immediately bring relief to people. And I know, because I walked through Kingstown yesterday, that people are excited about this, that people want to see it. And the good thing about this is that on this very card, Dr. Friday says, keep this card to see that we will keep our promises. So the power still goes back to the people. If at the end of the 60 days, you think that we have not, and we will, then you have all right to then vote us back out again. But you have the powers in the hands of the people. So give us a chance to prove to you that we will do it in the 60 days.
Okay.
Roleza, I hope that you invite me in to come in studio sometime.
Listen, you know how to reach me. I don't. You know how to reach me. But I'm actually happy that you ended with that, Pat, because I was going to ask you, how can we hold you accountable if these things are not done within the first 60 days? So, yeah.
I mean, I don't come from the school of politics that believe in continuing on one track. I come from the new age of politics that says, listen, I don't have to be bound here or there. At this particular time, I fully believe in Dr. Friday's vision and leadership of the party, but I also intend to hold him accountable for everything that he puts out there. I want to believe that there's a new generation of voters that want to see change and do not believe fundamentally that I am here or there, that I must stick with a given political party for 30 years and can't change. I come from the school of politics where I could understand and identify that, listen, this is working for me now, and tomorrow it may not work for me and what the country needs at this time. I do not understand why we seem to think in this country that we should belong to this one or that one. People are within their rights to vote for this one now and have no fear for voting for another one at another time and holding the two of them accountable. That is what you call a striving democracy.
All right, Lavon. Thank you for answering the questions that we had, especially with regards to the pledges. And I'm sure that this is not going to be the last occasion that Lord, you're causing me to lose my voice. She's gone. All right, that's how we hear from you. All right, so thank you. And we are heading on out, and we'll be back with more Activated Mornings here on WEFM.
Nothing else sounds as good as